What is love? Let's find out. Many people asked that question a number of years ago when we were doing a group Akashic Records session in Ireland. And that was the predominant question. Have a listen and hear Aingeal Rose's answer, downstepped from source directly through the Akashic Records. Enjoy.
Love is the field of all expression where everything gets expressed. That's the answer. It is just short and sweet. What are the qualities of love? Love, being the field of all expression, allows everything to be expressed. There is no judgment in it. There are no perceptions of right and wrong in it, or good and bad, or of opposites. It is really clear, in capital letters, love does not judge. Furthermore, there is no time involved in love. It goes on forever. Love is free. It's free because there is no judgment. The field of all expression is a dynamic field. It is infinite, going on forever. It is forever innocent. In this infinite field of all possibilities, I hear phrases like love never ends and love never dies. Even if I say love is the universe, it doesn't seem big enough because love is everything. When looking into the universal field of love, I am watching all possibilities in a plasma field of everything where anything is possible. Love feels like an energy, and it could have energy as part of its qualities, but it would not define itself as energy. It has no boundaries. It is a state of being, of existence. Everything is contained within it, and yet it doesn't have any values in the sense of judgment. Love is all knowledge too. All information is there. Everything you would ever want or need to know is there. Is there an opposite of love? No. There is no opposite of love, because if there were an opposite of love, it would mean that there was a reality that is different than love. Love can't be damaged in any way by anything. Negativity is sometimes considered the opposite of love. The force of negativity can gain a momentum so that it makes it harder to see the field of love, but love is still there behind the negativity. It's similar to the fact that the sky is still blue and the sun is still shining, even on a cloudy day. The field of love is like a golden woven energy field. When somebody is perceived to do something that is judged as unloving, it looks like they're punching a little hole in the field. But like your body, when it gets injured, your immune system kicks in and repairs the injury immediately. And so it is with the field of love. You could say it is immediately forgiving, or that it is immediately self-healing. This question gets asked because there are forces that want to appear stronger than the field of love. They create havoc and cause damage by affecting people in a way where they can't see clearly because they have become afraid. Fear has kept people from seeing the field of love. Because of this, it can appear that the forces of darkness at times are much greater than the forces of love. But this is not so. It's like saying the clouds that block the sunshine are more powerful than the sun. Once people get fearful, it is hard to remember that the loving field of all expression is always there. So even though negative forces could appear to have a lot of power, There is no opposite to love. Another way I often get asked the same thing is, what is the difference between love and hate? Remember, I did not say love is the expression of everything. I said love allows the expression of everything. So, there is no relationship between love and hate because they are not opposites. That's part of the big illusion we are all in, that we think things have an opposite. We think we live in a polarity where if you have one, you have to have the other in equal measure. But love doesn't have an opposite. Evil can't touch love because evil is based on illusion. There is a difference between real and unreal. The expression of opposites comes from fear. Acts of hatred come from fear. Always underneath all this is the fear of not being loved, of feeling disconnected from the field of love. This results in feeling the need to take from life or to conquer. Still, love does not put negative expression in any category whatsoever. The problem with labeling things, or with putting things in categories, is that you just make more of it. The moment you label something, the moment you judge it as bad or good, right or wrong, you've just made more. Source is not saying that evil is love. Just because there's no judgment, I am not saying that love and evil are the same. They are not the same. Anything counter to love isn't judged by Source, but is allowed by Source. This is what love is. If we're made of love, why do we feel so bereft of it? Every time you judge somebody, you will feel bereft. You can't judge someone and not feel the consequence of it somewhere in yourself. It's judgment that makes you feel guilty. If you feel guilty, then you believe you will be punished. You can't feel love if you are doing that. As long as you are judging one another, you can't feel love. Source loves everyone the same. And if you are really in a state of calmness within yourself, you would not feel bereft at all. If you feel bereft, you create fear for you. Once you judge, you feel guilt. Once you feel guilt, now you fear punishment. You just can't get around it. That's just the way it works. Forgiveness is when you get to the place where you know you can't judge anyone. Forgiveness is not that you did something to me and I forgive you. Forgiveness is the realization that you can't judge. This is called grace. That's why they say, if someone is really annoying you, to bless them instead of judge them. Because if you bless them, you are offering them grace. And grace is an energy where you don't really know how it will manifest with them. That's what you're offering. You are not being specific and saying, well, I am offering you this. I bless you because I want you to do this, this, and this. You're blessing them, acknowledging that they are innocent in God's eyes, even if they are not behaving like they are. In other words, you are sending love to someone out of a pure intention, without any expectation of what might happen because of it. This state of grace is pure intention with no agenda. Some people say they are sending love, but they are really sending their judgment. Do you understand? Why do we have such difficulty loving ourselves? You simply can't love yourself if you judge anybody. Judgment is judgment is judgment. If you judge another person, you're going to feel negativity. If you judge yourself, it's basically just ignorance. If we judge ourselves, we believe in judgment. It is the belief in judgment that has to go. Not just the act of judgment, but the belief in it. It is the belief in guilt. Whether you feel you are guilty or somebody else is guilty, all judgment is the belief in guilt and victimization. If you believe in victimization, you can't believe in love. The reason we don't give up guilt is we want other people to be guilty. Then we can feel justified in our grievance. There's no way we can know we are loved at all as long as we are doing that. We will always have the fear that God is going to punish us. Can you give us an example of love? An example of love is when you give without ever wanting to receive, or when you just give purely just because, without any reason. So you extend a hand in kindness, any kind of a true outreach to one another. Here's a real-life example. One time, I was driving to Philadelphia to attend a seminar, and I had to cross a bridge. At the other end of the bridge, there was a stoplight, and at the stoplight, there were these little black boys who wanted to wash my windshield. I didn't want them to wash my windshield because I really didn't have any extra money to give them. I had $5 with me for lunch, and that was it. So I kept saying no to them, but they continued to ignore my refusals and kept washing my windshield. I was watching how furious I was getting. I kept saying to myself that I didn't want to pay them and that I didn't have to pay them. Suddenly, I heard Jesus' voice saying to me, "That's your son. They are your children." It was so obvious how much I had been in judgment. But when I got to the point where I thought, okay, I'm willing to give up my lunch money for them, because I realize they are all my children. So I took out the $5, but the light changed, so I never got to give them the money for their service. And when I got home that day, my 3 children had been busy making little potholder trivets out of sticks. Mommy, we sold 2 of these today for $5. That was a selfless act because I realized they were my children. When I said, I get it, that's when I went beyond my own desire to have my lunch. I was willing to see peace instead. It was a moment of love, a feeling of ecstasy. Always try to keep people safe, just because that is the natural thing to do. How many parents give up something they want for themselves to give to their children? That's a selfless act of love. Pure love is experienced when you experience something with no agenda.
Now that was thought-provoking, wasn't it? We hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, blessings from myself, Ahonu, and from Aingeal Rose.